All right, Chillas, we are here with a bride-to-be,
Yay.
Sam from New York City, a fan of the show. I appreciate you so much reaching out with your question today. And it worked out perfectly because Michelle, who is a planner, wanted to discuss this very thing that you reached out about. It was like the serendipitous timing. It's so great. So, Sam, you have the floor. Tell us what's going on.
Thank you so much for inviting me on. I wrote that email in like a fit of fear and anxiety. So basically the gist is, my fiance and I got engaged in September. It was I was listening to Bridechilla before that already, so I've been preparing for a while.
Awesome.
And so like I knew that I wanted a planner. We both work full time. He owns a small business, and we have a cat that's very high maintenance. And so we knew that it was going to be tricky. We also knew we wanted to plan a wedding outside of New York because it's just a crazy place to try and get married. And so we had been, talking. He's kind of let me take the lead on a lot of this because I like spreadsheets, and I wanted a planner very badly. But starting in the fall, like I reached out to a few planners, and a couple of the responses I got were just disheartening. Several said your overall budget is too low for my services to justify them, basically. And what I will say is I at no point have tried to haggle. I've never tried to lowball anybody. I have always been like, we would be interested in your full or partial planning services. And we had discussed allocating 25 to 30% of our budget for this because both of us don't want to kill each other in this planning process. It is it's more so, it's less about the way the wedding will look. And to us, it is so much more about the way it feels. And we want to have fun. And there's a lot of things that there's a reason it's a full-time job, obviously. But yeah, we got a few responses that were people who said they could not work with us because our budget was too low. There were others who said that there was no way we the wedding in the original area we were looking to do a wedding in, which was Boston, outside of Boston, 30 minutes away. And for under $300 a head, which turned out that's not really true. We were not looking to have a luxury wedding. And then also it was I had a few planners just ghost me or just not respond. I had a few that responded about a month later, and I wanted to chalk it up originally to being, everybody's really busy. But then it just started especially when we got a few responses back that were very, that were kind of negative. It just started feeling like we are not the ideal clients. And I understand, our budget is slightly above, I think the national average is 33 or something like that. Ours is 10 grand above that. It's not crazy low, but we are now looking to get married in central New York, a very moderate cost of living area. And we understand our budget is the price of a flower wall. It's not a crazy, we don't think that we're going to get Pinterest level results with our budget. But what it feels like is that the reason we're not ideal clients is because other people won't get Pinterest level results with our budget. And that is what kind of felt really it was just disheartening because we're so willing to pay for this. We don't want to not pay for it. Yeah. I have had a few people offer month of coordination instead of full planning, which is not what we want. And again, we had never said we only can buy $3,000 of service. It was we were willing to spend a lot of money for services, but it was just, it felt pretty bad. It felt like if people thought maybe it wasn't worth it to work with us. And I have no idea if that's true. I'm reading a lot into the intent, but it did not feel good. But yeah.
Well, if they're giving you those vibes, it can't be.
It was not a good vibe.
Yeah.
It was a little dismissive, a lot of one sentence emails. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, no, Michelle, what do you think of all this?
I wouldn't send you a one sentence email. What I will say is some of it people might think my initial thought is some people might think it's spam or that you're a scammer because we just saying, not to make you feel bad, but all of us get these crazy emails, and there's different groups of planners where we all chat with each other. And if we're getting the same thing, we're okay, I heard from that person too. It's okay, it's not a scammer. It's just a person doing it, because we get scammed all the time. Oh, I'll pay you in credit card in full. And I'm I know this is a scam. Why are you even bothering? The other note that I will say is, and I'm sorry that you've had any negative experiences, but for me, Leah and I were talking about this before, I've had couples come to me and they're I am more than willing to pay, your $50,000 planner fee. Like we will pay that. But then what ends up happening is their expectations are then different. Like it's fuzzy. And they then assume that I'm going to be able to make some kind of like insane magic happen with like the budget they have. So I'll like kindly explain that, like I usually give like a breakdown, like this is what you can expect. This is what I'm used to doing, even on like as low as I possibly can go. For me personally, based on the location and how many guests are you like looking to host?
It depends on what venue we get. If it's safe for kids, we'll have 130. If it's not like a great place for kids, like near the coast, it'll be 110.
For that, and the other thing is like the national average is like so incorrect. It
Yeah.
drives me insane.
I was
blame
wondering
the
if you were going to say this.
Because
Yeah.
I do get inquiries like, quickly, my background, I've been playing since 2011. I got pregnant with my son in the pandemic. I did all my postponed weddings, and then I kind of went on a hiatus, started working in tech because weddings were insanity. And now I'm back kind of doing both consulting in tech and then doing weddings and events also. So now that people know I'm back, I'm getting these inquiries of like, I have this budget, this amount of guests, this is the location. And I'll tell people, like, I'll reply back saying, like, this is really what you can anticipate. This is what this is going to look like. And I do suggest like month of or something, or maybe not even, and just trying to like DIY. I think this goes back to my TikTok, Leah. There's too much misinformation out there that you have to spend millions of dollars. You don't have to spend $1 million to have this amazing wedding. But for the guest count and the location, you're safer at like 100K. And then trying to have in like a full planner. I don't want you to feel like, oh, well, we're not an ideal client. Cause like I will work with anybody. I think it's more of like the expectation of the couple. Once they pay me that big fee, they're like expecting a certain delivery. And if I can only give you what you can afford to spend, then it kind of like, it'll sometimes muddy things. Like I'll tell people, I'm like, you can't be paying me more than what your whole budget is. Just is crazy. That would be nuts.
So what would be a good expectation for her looking for, we'll say Central New York is one of the options, about 110, 130 people. What's a good, and how elaborate of a wedding are you looking to have? Like what kind of vibe are you looking for? Because you said you're about the feeling. So like what would be your ideal vibe?
I mean, it took me a minute because I was like, barns are outdated, but I love barns and I love animals. So we've decided we're doing barns and animals.
Do a barn.
Yeah. Don't worry about the trends.
I know. I've given up on that. I work in beauty and fashion and I've definitely given up on that. But yeah, we really want to have we would like for our families to be really comfortable. Like we want to make sure we have like comfortable chairs and everything like that. That's like one of the big priorities on our list. I guess I like mountains and there's a lot of like we're looking in Adirondacks, Catskills kind of also. And there are some places like that seem like within our budget. One of the biggest places we're looking at is a summer camp. And
cool.
we love that that would be helpful for kids and yada yada. But yeah, as far as like meal stuff, I did learn on this show that buffets are not always cost effective. And also they're less environmentally friendly. So I've been very like, I think we're doing plated or we're doing like family style kind of thing, but we're going to gauge everything. Yeah.
Outside of your venue and your wedding planner, what would you say is where you want to allocate more of your budget? Are you a floral person? Are you a DJ entertainment? Are you, interactive stuff like
photography? And this is not as good of an answer, a magician. It's not like a huge part of the budget, but like we've decided of all the things, we would really like a magician for like an hour. I would like 3 hours. He said 1, but yeah. So yeah.
Compromise.
That's where we're going. But we'll probably have a DJ. I think flowers is unfortunately one of those areas we're probably going to not go too crazy with, but that's why we want to have a naturally pretty setting.
Well, and that's why candlelight's great.
Yeah. Love candlelight. Yeah.
So with that, Michelle, what do you think?
I was going to say, so a positive TikTok that I saw, there's a girl, she's having like a lower budget wedding. She was sort of in like the same boat where she's like, I really want a planner, but I'm not sure I can afford it. I don't really know what to do. And she's renting out a VRBO, keeping her family all there and like her bridal party all there. I think it's like enough to sleep up to 20. So it's probably expensive, but not like an insane amount. And she's in that's, I forget what city she's in. Like she might be somewhere in Texas. I don't remember. So not an exorbitant amount. And then she's just kind of being like crafty with like what she just does on site. Like it's an extremely non-traditional type of situation for her. Um, I don't know. It's so tough because then in those situations, like I don't think that you need a planner then. Like I think that it's something where you need somebody there to kind of run it, or you need, like, I do hourly consulting. Like, you need somebody you can schedule a 1 hour meeting with, and then I tell you, like, here, this is this is how you organize. This is what you should be looking at. If you're don't sign this contract yet. Ask them XYZ, blah blah blah. And then you're like getting this like guidance in the background that's not overly expensive. And then you're kind of managing the wedding yourself. And then maybe like day of I hate saying this, but I feel like day of is such a waste, and people might hate me for this, but I think like if you have a family member, and as much as go against family members, but like literal day of, no one knows what's going on. I feel like if you have like a close friend or a cousin, if you have somebody that like wants to naturally be involved, they can be the person that's just like checking on. They're like your assistant for the day. That's like, oh, the food's not ready or this. And because it's not elaborate and over the top, that person can still have fun. They're kind of it's almost like when you're hosting at home. That's like the vibe I'm
Yeah.
getting.
Yeah, I think I will be honest with you, we kind of talked about that. And I think we want everybody to really enjoy themselves. And I would rather somebody who does this for a living be doing it, because hypothetically, they forget something. Am I going to be mad at one of my guests? No. So I don't really want to deal with that.
And you don't want to think about everything the day of.
God, no. And I love all my friends. I love all my family. They're not, none of them are wedding planners. None of them are planners of anything for
You
events.
need someone to help you like figure out your proper vendors.
I need somebody who wants to do it and is doing it because I'm paying them to. I think that's a big thing for me. And because I do think people do a better job when they're like, it's their job, you know?
Yeah.
Of course.
I think, and I understand what you're kind of saying. We do believe that this is a priority enough, partially because the communication part of like talking to vendors is like we both work too much for us to be making tons of time for calls all the time. So I think having somebody coordinate that for us, it's like, it's less so about the way that the wedding looks and more that we need somebody to help us with the time management, the org management, the budgeting, everything like that. And I think something that has one of the reasons that I'd reached out originally is because, you know, you'll hear like a host being very inclusive to try and be inclusive of like, you know, lower budget brides and say like, you know, if you're doing this yourself, X, Y, and Z. And a lot of times, not just on this podcast, but like a lot of podcasts, you'll hear a planner or whoever, a florist, just will be like, why would you not have a planner? And it's like, well, if nobody's emailing me back, why wouldn't I have a planner?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
not everyone can afford it, but also it seems like not everybody, you know.
No, I'm glad you're bringing this up.
No, that is true. The vendors prefer a planner also because logistically.
Yeah, nobody wants to be the photographer who everybody expects to be the planner.
Right.
But I think also it's like, I know logically, you know, if I don't have a planner, I am the planner. And that's just not something I'm going to do, you know, because it's not my job. So I would really I think that's part of why it was a little scary, because it was like, wait, but we're willing to pay somebody's fees, you know? We can afford it for that.
What steps should she take in trying to find someone that is willing to work within her budget?
I think, not to sell myself here, but I think like even just a 1 hour phone call to like get to dive into like what you're trying to accomplish, what you've done so far, the vendors you've reached out to, what your aesthetic is, because there are times that people come to me with even higher budgets. And then when we have that kind of like debrief, I'm like, oh, this is not going to be enough even for like how much they have.
Of course.
And then it's just kind of like resetting the expectations and then like figuring out like, okay, here is what I would be able to do. This is what the result would look like. These are the stipulations, and figuring out either like whether that's you work with somebody like me for like hourly consulting and you're just paying me by the hour instead of one lump sum fee and just going through the process that way. And then maybe having a higher fee for like the month of, day of to be handled much more seamlessly because there's things go so beyond what like you budget out for. There's
I'm
like so
sure.
many logistics and it's just
That's why we
family
need you.
things and right,
Yeah,
right.
right?
So it's good. I think like a deep dive into like your expectations. And I would want to meet with you and your fiance because the other issue is that whenever I've been in this situation, like I'll just meet with the bride or I'll meet with like the bride and her mom.
Oh.
And then the groom's like, oh no, this is not, it becomes a whole thing. So it's better to see both parties,
Yes.
get the full details of everything and then kind of like see how I can guide you from there.
That totally makes sense.
It seems like even this, Sam, is probably a big hurdle you're already overcoming because it sounds like no one was even wanting to hear you out. No one wanted to hear your budget and hear why that what you can offer would work for them. It was just like,
I was trying to over communicate, I think sometimes, like my reach out emails, and also when you fill out somebody's site, like, forms, they often do ask your budget. But even when I was just reaching out directly to people who didn't have a form, I did include like our budget and everything like that. And I think part of that is like, because I was getting so frustrated with all the times I was reaching in, not to planners even, but to venues, to whoever,
mm-hmm.
and they had no fees. And then they send it back and they're like, by the way, every room is, $700 for a night. And, that's just like not within most of our guest budget. And I wanted to be really transparent because if somebody didn't want to necessarily or couldn't see themselves working with us, I didn't want to waste their time on having to, I didn't want to act like a venue and make them call me, and then tell them what it is.
Right.
So I think, yeah, it felt like we couldn't get anybody on the phone. I will say, since I emailed like a week and a half ago, we did find a planner that we've talked to and that we're meeting in person with by some, and it was because instead of it being like, I didn't look on the Knot, I didn't look on any, even Google or whatever, because all those results are sponsored now. I found somebody through someone else. And so I think that was helpful. And that woman doesn't come up in search at all, which I was like, oh. But yeah, so we just have like a coffee meeting, but I think, yeah, definitely an hour long, even if that doesn't work out, like I do think what you're saying about like having at least like an hour long consultation with people or having that kind of communication would be very helpful.
And I agree that like it can be frustrating for couples because most people don't have pricing listed. Like all my pricing is listed when you go to my website.
Okay, bless you. Thank you.
So people know, like they know right away, like, oh no, I don't want to pay this, or this is in my budget, or whatever the case is. The only thing I have to add is the hourly consulting because that's like a newer thing. So I get random inquiries and they're like, how much are you per hour? And I'm like, okay, sorry. But everything else is outlined on there. But I know a lot of people that don't. And I know people get really frustrated because that makes sense.
The planners seem better about listing theirs, I think, it's really the venues that are killing me.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Starting out would be great, or a price per plate if you're doing, this range, depending on if you're doing chicken or vegetarian or beef or like whatever. There's got to be some kind of starting
like
act.
a bottom line. Like you have to be at least here. And I know with venues, it's like if you do a Monday, that's very different than a Saturday and peak season and off peak. Like I totally get that they have like an array, but I think like the Foundry possibly, like when you go to their site, it'll show like peak season, off season, and it shows at least like a range. So you're like, oh, I have an idea of what this is going to be and let me reach out. But not everybody does that.
What is the Foundry?
We need more
I guess I have to look that up.
It's very beautiful. It adds up quickly because it's a raw space. You got to bring everything in. But if you want to spend more money,
I will follow that on Instagram.
It's beautiful. It's in Long Island City. It's stunning. But it's a fully raw space. You have to bring in all your rentals, all your food and beverage, obviously like music and flowers and all of that. So but it's a beautiful
Oh,
space.
I went to a wedding there. So I just realized that.
Makes sense.
Stunning. Beautiful. Loved it.
It's so pretty. I love it. It's one of my favorite venues.
Oh my God. Amazing. Yeah.
Sam, something we didn't get to talk about yet was your engagement. Tell us how your fiance
Yeah.
proposed to you.
Well, our first not date was we just met, a few years ago, and we went to a diner, and like, we met through friends, and we went to a diner just as friends, and I saved that receipt for the next 10 months. I didn't see him. We didn't run into each other. And then 10 months later, he came back into my life through friends again, and we instantly were like, I've been thinking about you for a very long time. And so we started dating pretty much immediately, and we got engaged about a little less than a year later, I think. Or no, a little more than a year later. Anyways, we went, he took me to that diner. We were supposed to go on vacation the next day. I assumed he was going to, I knew he was going to propose. But I assumed he was going to propose when we went to on this surprise vacation. And the night before, he took me to the same diner, and I didn't even know it was going to be open. And I turned the corner, and it's like 10 of my friends, his mom's there, and they all were, and so the video is, I'm just giggling because I'm so shocked and I don't know how to deal with it. But it was very, 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 very sweet.
I love that. When are you guys looking to get married? How much planning time are we looking at here?
So originally we were like, let's go ahead and just do, and some background also, we did book a venue and then have decided to not, we canceled that venue. Like, it was a very quick, we booked a venue 3 weeks later because I was terrified that we wouldn't get a venue. It was a small deposit, so it wasn't a big, I mean, it was a deposit, but we talked to the venue and everything was fine. It was just ultimately, we had booked a venue for the coast of Massachusetts on December 5th, and I've now realized what that means for the weather. I don't know why I didn't think about that before. It's also off an island where it can flood, so that's not great. But so now we are looking, instead of this December, next May or June.
Okay.
So we have a little bit of time.
Yeah.
But I already got a dress, so that's, priorities.
Oh, good job.
Thank you. That's the only part he's definitely not involved in. So, but his mom came with me, so that was nice.
And will your dress, you think, work with whatever kind of venue you're working at, or is it kind of geared towards like mountains and everything?
I think it'll work for any venue. It also has some detachable aspects of it, like detachable sleeves and stuff like that. And so I know it'll work for pretty much anything. I think, I think it would probably work for anywhere.
You said you work in the beauty space. Have you been deep diving in all the different looks you can have for your wedding day?
I am very inspired by Selena Gomez's. Like, I was going to grow my hair long, and then I saw her lob, and I was like, oh my God, maybe I'll just keep my hair lobbing. Because I do have, it's pulled back, but
love it.
I think probably like the simple waves. And but yeah, I work in the beauty space, and so that just means I'm really indecisive with hair and makeup.
I'm sure. Yes, that means you have too many. Anytime I have a bride that's in fashion, they are like, they get their dress at the last second because they're like surrounded by it. And I'm like, no,
I mean, I've listened to this podcast, and I really do mean, I listened to pretty much every episode of this podcast, and I think I can't remember when it was, but I feel like I heard on through this podcast, like, stop looking after you've gotten your dress, like, don't keep going crazy. So I disabled all of that on my algorithms, so I would not get dresses anymore, because I just don't want to be I don't want to be like, what if I did this?
No. Yeah.
I went psycho after I picked out mine.
It's scary.
It's so easy. The second I walked out of there, after I said yes to the dress, I was like, that's probably not my dress, and this shouldn't be done yet. I should keep looking, and shut it down.
I mean, I kept looking for a reception dress, and then I thought about it, and I was like, wait, I've spent so much money on this first dress. Why am I not wearing it for
just
10 hours or whatever?
Just wear it.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah. Wear it every anniversary. Do all the things.
Oh, that's
what Michelle said earlier on the show. She said that she wears hers every anniversary.
I pull it out. I never got it cleaned. I never did any of that.
I love that.
It's in its garment bag in the closet. I can just take it out whenever the heck I want and just walk around in it.
Okay, that's awesome. I'm going to do that.
I love it. I've been begging my sister to take hers out because my sister got married in like 2008 or something. So like a long time ago now. And she had a big ball gown with like the corset. I'm like, oh my God, please take it out. I need to see.
I
But she
love
won't. It's in a
that.
box. It's all like vacuum sealed.
Oh, I love that. But I want to wear mine. I mean, mine's comfortable for some reason. So I was like, I
Yeah.
think I want to keep this as, I never want to get rid of it.
That's
Oh,
awesome. I love
yes.
that. Sam, while we have Michelle here, what other questions do you have from a planner?
Oh my gosh. Okay, this is a very hyper specific question, but if you were planning a wedding and it is somewhere that has mosquitoes, what do you
Mm.
do? Because a lot of places we're looking, because we've pushed it to May and June, it's mosquito season, and I don't know how to
Yeah.
incorporate that into things.
Okay. So I had a wedding in Pennsylvania over the summer, and I had a wedding in Vermont once over the summer. Not this past summer, but like summers ago. Same type of issue. Even when you're like in the Hamptons in the summer, same type of issue. Whether it's a private property or like a property owned by the venue, that is a question you should ask them because they should be treating the property for the season. So you shouldn't be like swarmed. Like, of course, there might be a bug here and there, but I've never had a wedding where we felt like we were getting bit like every 2 seconds. So definitely ask the venue if it's a private property that you're renting, like a VRBO. That's like a tough situation because then you have to like this girl on TikTok apparently said she told the owner where she was renting from that she was hosting her wedding and they were cool with everything. So I don't know. She said they were more flexible than Airbnb, so give it a whirl.
Have
But
citronella
like
candles out and off spray.
they would have to like I don't know how you would handle the space being treated, so that's a little riskier. But if you're going to a venue and it's their property, that's definitely a question that should be discussed. And then yeah, I mean, you just have to provide like the bug repellent. Like we always do like the amenities baskets in the restrooms with like
Mhm.
sunblock and the little heel
Oh yeah.
stoppers and bug
Mhm.
like not spray. There's like these wipes that you can wipe on you and they're like more natural oils so that people don't smell like off or whatever that stuff
And it's not
is.
like in the air.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Along with like all the other restroom amenities things.
Can I ask you another thing?
Yeah, yeah. Ask me a million
Oh my
questions.
God, amazing. I so we are like I said, we're hoping that we can have kids. The original venue was not safe in terms of it was just too close to the ocean, too close to waves, made me too nervous for kids. But we are hoping to find a venue that could accommodate kids. And the one thing that is tricky, I think, is there are a few people who have babies. How do
Mm.
you politely say, I mean, I don't want to say anything. It's just, you think that people will take their baby out during a ceremony if they're crying, but they
Right.
don't
But they don't.
always.
No, I know.
Not
And I
always.
don't know if that's something where, a coordinator would help with like going up and saying like,
Mhm.
that. I don't know. I have no idea. But, between that and my general anxiety about somebody's phone going off in the middle of a ceremony, which actually that would be adults and I will be mad at them.
Yeah.
I think I'm
Mhm.
just nervous about how to deal with excess sounds and distractions during ceremonies.
Yeah, I think that like that is definitely like a planner type of job. And there's also like anytime there's a difficult family member or like difficult guest that you can expect, I'm always the one to be like, oh, just throw me under the bus and like tell them they can't do X, like you can't bring so and so to the wedding or you can't like do XYZ at our wedding because like my planner said you can't. Like I had an uncle that wanted to get on stage and play his harmonica with the band because he swore that he was like an award-winning harmonica player.
Sure.
And the bride was like, he's not, he's like 10 beers deep. Like, please make sure he doesn't get to the stage. And I was like, no problem. So like the band and my team like collaboratively worked to make sure that like he got his moment, but like he never was on the stage. He was never on the stage. So yeah.
He shined from afar, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When my boyfriend Dave officiated our friend's wedding last year, before the ceremony actually started, everyone was seated, he opened up by saying, "Hey, as a reminder, please turn your phones off," kind of like before theater production, right? Just so you know, whether it's a what's it called when you don't have
Like a
cameras out?
wire, like a, oh my God, why am I forgetting too?
I
Not a
know, I'm going blank
wireless.
too.
Unplugged.
Unplugged.
Yeah. Whether they're doing it unplugged or not, like, or even if you're not, just, hey, listen, Aunt B, don't put your ass in the middle of the aisle and blocking our photographer to get this great shot. Like, just, heads
But
up.
Aunt B might not listen. So that's why the planner
Well,
has
and
to
that's
be
the
like,
thing that you have to, unfortunately, yeah. If you have a crying baby or you yourself are in hysterics, please leave the space. Just throw it on your officiant first if you don't have
Or
someone.
you yourself are in hysterics. Yes.
yes.
That might come in. Yeah. My family, we're very emotional. So, and anybody that we are a little bit worried about in terms of getting in the aisle, we're giving them jobs. That is something we've decided.
Oh, smart.
So,
See, that's a good idea. No, because I get it. That's like a sensitive thing, especially if somebody has like a baby crying. And they're like, my son's bigger now, but when he would cry, even if we were at a church for something, I'd be like, oh my God. And I'd have to go in the little lobby area because I would be like panicking the whole time. But not everybody does that. They just keep hanging out. And then yes, I totally agree that put it on your officiant first so that they're like the first line of defense. But then once the ceremony gets going, like Aunt B is going to take her phone out and start recording because she just doesn't care and she just does what she wants. And then I don't know, another name, Jessica is in the back there and this is like her third kid. She's like, everyone can deal with it. I don't even hear this baby crying. So then it's like, then you have your other lines of defense to be like, hi, we're not doing that right now. Like, okay, hi, you need to be over here instead to then rally around stuff as the ceremony's going on.
That makes sense. Yeah, I think people, there are two kinds of people, and it's the people who are like, oh no, how do I make this better? And the people who are like, I don't care if it's better. This is how things are now.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yes, not that one's better than the other, but I have a bias towards one of those.
Yes.
And I guess I was okay, so as far as save the dates, what is that? I'm getting so many answers on when to send and save the dates out, and people think I wanted to send them out too early, but then I don't know. What are the rules there?
I feel like if you're not, it depends where everybody is who's being invited. So my cousin got married in the Outer Banks in North Carolina. They sent this is my cousin, so I knew about the wedding before anything, but they sent their save the dates out, I think a year and a half in advance because they wanted people to book their hotels, get their accommodations, if people had to book a flight, all of that kind of stuff. I would say if it's I'm in Manhattan, and so if I had a friend or a family member getting married in the Hamptons, a year out is fine so that I know when the wedding is coming and all of that. I feel like when it's a destination, it gets bumped up a little bit more.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The other thing too is that some people like to think about who they actually want to save their date. So sometimes they do a lot of things verbally, and then some people save the dates altogether because they're trying to just see, once you start telling family, there might be a family member that really wants to be there, but they're just maybe health wise or whatever it is, they know they're not going to be able to make it. So then you're saving cost on a save the date and an invitation for somebody that's definitely not going to come. You might still want to send a courtesy invite, but you can skip the save the date. So I think it just depends on who you're inviting, what the situation is, and how far everybody is going to have to travel collectively. If a larger percent has to potentially fly, or it's a 10 plus 8+ hour drive, then sending them out as soon as you can is better. But it's also good to just verbally, so then you get an idea of who's on board and who isn't.
Yes, that's.
So I guess with that too, Michelle, is lock in that guest list.
Yeah.
And that's also your cost. Your number one cost is your guest. Your guest is the food, the place setting, the chair, the accommodations, everything.
Yeah. So it's good to know, if you're chatting about okay, we're looking at this date, this is the area, and whatever friend or cousin or something, and they're like, oh, I don't think I'll be able to do that. Oh, okay, great. Well, so, and then you just start to get an idea of what your guest list could look like.
Okay, that makes me feel better because I thought I was being dramatic by wanting to do it early.
No, hell no.
Okay, great. I like knowing things early.
Yes, and it also does help to weed out. So even if you're oh, I don't have time to like verbally have all these conversations because we're busy. You could just like get nuts, send out save the dates. It's a way to like filter your guest list, but you got to be a little careful because you
Yeah.
can't send a save the date and not an invitation.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been trying to be careful about that in terms of like who I even
Yes.
do a verbal discussion with. And because we thought we were getting married earlier, we did already have an engagement party. And luckily we kept it small, but there's, if there had been anybody that came that we didn't want there, that would have been pretty unfortunate.
Right.
And I guess I'm sorry, can I have one more question of you?
Yeah, let's get one more question in for sure.
If somebody is hurt that they are not a bridesmaid or a groomsman, how does that conversation work? Because I already know of one person who is going to be.
But they're the type to assume.
Yes.
Are you having are you not doing a bridal party at all? Or are you doing, okay.
Small.
And then is this like, what is the reason this person's not a bridesmaid?
We're not as close as we used to be. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's basically.
Yeah. Were you in their wedding or at their wedding or something significant? Okay.
Oh, I say it so like, oh, fine. But I was a bride myself too. And like, I know what happens. I didn't do a wedding party at all. I just had, you are my friends and like, you all know who you are and that's it. And like some people had an issue that they weren't actually didn't have like an actual title and there was no like announcing of things. And I'm like, oh my God. Not that serious. So I think just like staying firm, because I just got to a point where like I was just like, this is what it is. Like we're not doing bridal party. I did a bachelorette. Like if I was having titles, you would be a bridesmaid. But I think this instance, you're like, well, these are my bridesmaids and you're not. But also if it's somebody that like maybe you used to have a really close relationship with and now you want to have them at your wedding, but it doesn't make sense for them to be a bridesmaid. I think that that's okay to just like have that conversation. And then like this person can do whatever they want. If they're like, oh, well, I don't want to attend now. All right.
Then
That's sad, but like, okay, like it's not, you don't want to put yourself in a situation where you're unhappy because you're trying to make someone else happy. So
that makes sense. Yes. Especially because it's the most stressful situation.
Yeah, for sure. I got lucky when I got married. My longest friendship, we've been friends since I was 2, she was 3. And we're not like super, super close, but we still keep in touch and, we'll be there for each other. But I didn't ask her to be a bridesmaid. I had other people, and I had some, like looking back now, I probably wouldn't have had as many people. But yeah, it's just, you have to hope that they're going to be okay with not having that title, but being okay with still being invited and being a part of it. Maybe phrase it that way, right, Michelle? Like, I still want you to be there and be a part of the special day. Because you could easily not invite them if you're not super close anymore.
Yeah. I mean, we're still friends. We're close enough that we're friends. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I even had I had an instance where a friend that we had kept in communication and then we like reconnected like just later on in life. And she didn't ask me to be a bridesmaid. And I was like, I actually don't want to be a bridesmaid. Like I just had a baby and I was like, I cannot afford this. Like I do not want to be at the bachelorette. Like I could not have been more relieved. So maybe on sending positive energy, maybe she'll be like, oh, thank God I'm not a bridesmaid because I don't want to deal with that like at all. Even for my cousin getting married, I like was invited to the bachelorette and I had the time of my life and I'm like, I don't have any of the responsibilities. I'm just hanging out, having a good time. I don't have to buy a dress. I don't have to so it's hopefully I'll send that energy to you. Hopefully that's what ends up happening.
That is a really optimistic way of looking at it. And I actually think that might be the case, So that would be great. But yeah, that's all my questions. Thank you for answering all my questions. That was so many questions.
Of course.
Well, thanks so much for being here, Sam.
Thanks for having me.
It was really such a joy having you.
It was so wonderful.
And congratulations.
Thank you.
It's very exciting.
Thank you so much.
Things, I know it's a lot and it's overwhelming and crazy, but it's all happy and fun. You won't be a fiance again. So I'm always telling people that, like, enjoy the fiance era because it's too short. And then suddenly it's like, oh, my husband.
Yeah. Fiance just sounds fun.
It sounds more fun and free. And then you're just like, I remember saying husband for the first time and I was like, oh my God, do I like, I have like a 401k and like a corner office. Like, what is happening? It's like so much at once.
It just gets stuck. It's like,
Scary.
oh, my husband. Yes. But yeah, thank you so
Sam, we
much.
are wishing you the absolute best.
Thanks.
Keep us
Yes,
posted
I
on how
will.
everything's going. We want to
please
be a part of this
do.
journey with you. Now we're invested.
Uh,
We have
Yeah.
to know the journey.
I will definitely keep you posted.
And Michelle, thank you so much today for helping us with all this great advice, for sharing your story and your journey with being on Say Yes to the Dress and your drama from your wedding and being so authentic and open as always. It's just,
Of course.
we love you. And how can we get more information on you, Michelle?
Instagram at Michelle Elaine, or my most updated website, which I'm so proud of, is michelle-elaine.com.
Yay. Make sure you check her out, and we'll see you next time, Chillas.